What if I told you that you might be leaving $500 a year in tax-free growth on the table and not even realizing it? In 2026, the 401k limit went up to $24,500. The IRA limit went up to $7,500. Most people hear that and think, oh, nice. But that's not the real story. The real story is, if you're 50 or older, and your 2025 W-2 Box 3 wages from the same employer exceeded $150,000, there's a new rule this year that changes how you save. This video breaks down all the 2026 changes and who needs to adjust. Here's what we're covering today. 1. All the key 2026 limits. How much did 401ks go up? IRAs? 2. Income threshold changes. Who can still contribute to Roth? Who can still deduct traditional IRA contributions? 3. The most important new rule for 2026. High earners catch-up contributions must go Roth. 4. Decision framework. How different people should save in 2026. First up, all the key 2026 limits and how much they went up. Here's the 2026 limit table for 401ks, 403bs, 457bs, and TSP. Want the quick summary? 3 words. They all went up. The regular limit went up to $24,500. That's $1,000 more than last year. The catch-up limit for people 50 and over went up to $8,000. That's $500 more. If you're 60 to 63, there's a special higher limit, up to $11,250. That number stayed the same, but it's made up of the base $8,000 catch-up plus an extra $3,250. Note, this $11,250 is not automatically available in all plans. Your 401k plan must allow it. 50 and over can contribute a total of $32,500. 60 to 63 can contribute up to $35,750. So what's the takeaway? You can now figure out exactly how much more you can save this year. Now let's look at IRA limits. IRAs went up too. The regular limit increased to $7,500. That's $500 more. The catch-up for 50 and over went up to $1,100, bringing the total to $8,600. And finally, there's a hidden limit you should know about. The 415C Annual Editions limit. It went up to $72,000. You don't need to memorize this number. Just know it's the ceiling for all your 401k contributions combined. Everything you put in. Your employer match. And after-tax contributions. All of it together can't exceed this number. But catch-up contributions for those age 50 and older are not subject to this limit. They are additional space. Beyond the contribution limits. Roth IRA income thresholds also went up. These determine whether you can contribute directly to a Roth IRA and how much. Single filers with MAGI under $153,000 can contribute the full $7,500. Between $153,000 and $168,000, you can contribute a reduced amount. Above $168,000, you can't contribute directly to a Roth IRA. For married couples filing jointly, the numbers are higher. MAGI under $242,000 means you can contribute the full amount. Above $252,000, you can't contribute directly. So what do you do if your income exceeds the Roth IRA direct contribution limit? Use a backdoor Roth IRA. Contribute to a traditional IRA first. Then convert it to a Roth IRA. We did a full episode on this, so check that out if you're in this situation. Note, backdoor Roth comes with pro rata tax risk. If you have existing pre-tax traditional IRA, SEP IRA, or simple IRA balances. The conversion could trigger taxes. Evaluate your situation before proceeding. Whether you can deduct traditional IRA contributions depends on your income and whether you're covered by an employer retirement plan. The 2026 thresholds also went up. If you're covered by an employer plan and single, the deduction phases out between $81,000 and $91,000. Above $91,000, you can't deduct anything. For married couples filing jointly, if you're covered by an employer plan, the deduction phases out between $129,000 and $149,000. If you're not covered by an employer plan but your spouse is, the deduction phases out between $242,000 and $252,000. If you and your spouse are not covered by any employer retirement plan, you can take the full deduction. No income limit. Practical tip: if you're a high earner covered by an employer plan, your traditional IRA deduction is likely phased out. In that case, consider contributing directly to a Roth IRA or using the backdoor Roth IRA. Now, let's talk about the biggest change for 2026. This rule comes from the Secure 2.0 Act. The intent behind it is to shift the timing of tax revenue, requiring high-income earners who meet the threshold to pay tax on catch-up contributions when they're made. Under the Secure 2.0 Act, starting the 1st of January 2026, if an employee's prior year W-2 Box 3 FICA wages from the same employer exceed $150,000, their catch-up contributions, if they're 50 or older, must be made as Roth after-tax contributions. In other words, if you're a high earner, you can no longer choose pre-tax catch-up contributions. That money gets taxed in the year you contribute. This is an important distinction. This rule only applies to employer retirement plan catch-up contributions, like 401ks, 403bs, and 457bs, traditional IRA and Roth IRA catch-up contributions. The $1,100 for 50 and over are completely exempt from this rule. A lot of people get these mixed up, so I wanted to make that crystal clear. Additional note, the income threshold for this rule is based on prior year W-2 Box 3 FICA wages from the same employer exceeding $150,000, and this amount is adjusted annually for inflation. If you work for multiple employers, each employer generally looks at their own wages separately. Employer A going over only affects your catch-up contributions with employer A. It doesn't impact employer B. Plans can also choose to combine wages across employers within a controlled group. Investment income and other non-employment income do not count toward this threshold. Also, there are limited exceptions for special catch-up contributions under government 457B plans. But that exception only applies to the special 3-year catch-up unique to 457B plans. And it does not exempt 50-plus high earners from the new Roth mandate. We won't go into those here, so check with your plan administrator if that applies to you. If you're 50 or older, and your 2025 W-2 Box 3 FICA wages from the same employer were over $150,000, your catch-up contributions, that's $8,000 for 50 and over, or $11,250 if you're 60 to 63. Those have to go Roth. But your regular deferral, the $24,500, is completely untouched. You can still do pre-tax and get that deduction like you always have. So think of it this way. The regular $24,500 stays the same. You can choose pre-tax or Roth. That part doesn't change. It's only the extra catch-up amount that's affected. So when you're planning your cash flow, you only need to set aside taxes for that extra catch-up piece. Everything else stays the same. Now, one quick clarification on the 60 to 63 super catch-up. Secure 2.0 created a higher catch-up limit for people aged 60 to 63. In 2026, the IRS limit for this is $11,250. But here's the thing. That's a plan optional provision. Your 401k plan can choose to offer it, but they don't have to. The IRS final rules don't fully take effect until 2027. For 2026, plans can operate under a reasonable, good faith interpretation. Before you plan around it, check with your plan administrator to see if your 401k allows the 60 to 63 super catch-up. If you're not sure, or your plan doesn't offer it yet, play it safe and base your planning on the standard $8,000 catch-up limit. So who does this actually affect? You're 50 or older. Your 2025 W-2 3 FICA wages from the same employer exceeded $150,000. You want to make catch-up contributions. If all three apply to you, then starting in 2026, your catch-up contributions must go Roth. If you could have contributed pre-tax before 2026, you might have saved roughly $1,700 to $1,900 in taxes that year, based on a 22% marginal rate, but your actual savings depend on your specific bracket. Starting in 2026, that same money has to go in as Roth. That means you pay tax on it in the year you contribute. Result? Your tax bill goes up this year, roughly $8,000 multiplied by your marginal tax rate. But here's the trade-off. Roth money comes out completely tax-free in retirement, so it's really a choice between paying tax now or paying tax later. Once the higher $11,250 catch-up for 60 to 63-year-olds is more broadly available, the impact will be even bigger, and I'll cover that in a future video when the rules are fully settled. Now, the most important part, with all these new rules, how should you save in 2026? This savings order assumes you expect your future effective tax rate won't be significantly lower than your current rate. If you're in a very high bracket today, you may want to weigh the trade-offs between pre-tax 401k and Roth contributions. Step 1. Take the free money first. If your employer offers a 401k match, contribute at least enough to get the full match. That's free money. Highest priority. The 2026 regular limit is $24,500. You don't need to max it out, but at least get the match. Step 2. Roth IRA, or backdoor if you need it. Check if your income lets you contribute directly to a Roth IRA. If your MAGI is under $153,000 for single filers, or under $242,000 if you're married filing jointly, you're good. You can put in the full $7,500 or $8,600 if you're 50 or older. If you're over those limits, don't worry. You can still get the same amount in using the backdoor Roth IRA. We covered that in a previous episode, so check that out if you need a refresher. Step 3. Go back to your 401k and max out whatever's left. If you still have room in your budget after steps 1 and 2, put the rest into your 401k. Here are the limits for 2026. Under 50. You can put in up to $24,500. If you're 50 or older, that number goes up to $32,500. That's your regular $24,500 plus an $8,000 catch-up. And if you're 60 to 63, you can go even higher, up to $35,750. But only if your plan actually allows that higher catch-up. Not all plans do, so check first. One important thing to remember. Those catch-up contributions don't count toward the $72,000 415C limit. They're extra space on top of it. So if you've got the cash flow, this is where you put the rest. Special note for high earners. If you're 50 plus and your 2025 W-2 Box 3 FICA wages from the same employer exceeded $150,000, your catch-up contributions must go Roth. Factor that into your cash flow planning. Here's the bottom line. Find your age and income, and this is what you do. Under 40, moderate income. Match first, then Roth IRA, then back to the 401k. Free money first, then tax-free growth. 40 to 50. Moderate to high income. Match first. Roth IRA or backdoor next. Then fill up the rest of the 401k. Roth might make more sense for you, but it depends on your situation, 50 or older. And your W-2 box 3 wages from the same employer were over $150,000. Match first, Roth IRA or backdoor next. Your catch-up must go Roth, but only the catch-up part. Your regular $24,500 is still pre-tax. Plan for that extra tax bill, 60 to 63. Check if your plan offers the super catch-up. If yes, you can do $11,250 instead of $8,000. But it replaces the standard one. It's not extra. And if you're a high earner, it goes Roth too. These are your best saving years. Don't waste them. All right, let's wrap it up with the key takeaways for 2026. First, 401ks went up to $24,500. IRAs went up to $7,500. And the 415C annual limit? That's now $72,000. Second, Roth IRA income thresholds also went up. Single filers, $153,000. Married filing jointly, $242,000. And third, this is the big one. If you're 50 or older, and your 2025 W-2 box 3 wages from the same employer were over $150,000, your catch-up contributions must go Roth. That's the biggest new rule for 2026. Don't underestimate these small annual increases. Compound growth can turn them into something meaningful over time. A few $100 a year adds up. I'm Gino. Next episode, we're going deeper on this new rule. How to actually check if your W-2 box 3 wages exceed $150,000. And what to do if you're right around that threshold. See you then.